you can walk with the light and still have all of this with you along your journey. And we're here for the human experience. We don't need to push away grief and fear.
To have the freedom to just express all parts of myself, the scary, the crying, the feral, the playful, the sensual. There's just this tangible, real difference of people going from this heightened, anxious, uncertain state to really being able to like drop down and connect with each other. And the love is palpable.
Welcome to today's episode of Universal Intimacy, the podcast where we explore the intersection of science, spirituality, and sexuality. I am so thrilled today to be joined by my team. Yay! By Hayleigh and Lauren, who have been supporting me with Temple of Loha, the Urban Intimacy Workshops, Universal Intimacy, the community, all of my offerings, the podcast, everything behind the scenes. This feels like such a treat, such an honor to have you here on the stage behind the mics. I'm just so excited to drop in and have this elevated girl talk. Yay! Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having us. I'm so excited.
Yeah. Let's kind of start with our journeys, right? I would love to hear from each of you in terms of how you've navigated the human improvement, self-help space. I know that's like a very broad topic, and there's so many different rabbit holes we could go down because we've all explored so many different modalities. But whoever feels called to start, just when you started to awaken or wake up to the reality that maybe you weren't living in your highest timeline or connected deeply with your soul or your purpose.
So my late teens, I had pretty intense anxiety and just a lot of existential fear and dread. And I was, to put it plainly, just like convinced that we were living in hell, which caused a lot of obvious chaos inside of me. And I remember one day doing a YouTube video of yoga, and it was the first time that I heard somebody say something positive about what we experience, like our challenges, and that it's not for nothing. And from there, I went on. I mean, it was just like, it doesn't stop, right? Like that one thing lets you in, and it doesn't stop. And I kind of dived into manifestation and New Age spirituality, which was beautiful and lovely and served me so well. But I think it also constricted me, just like society had kind of built me to be. I kind of like shifted those beliefs into what I was now studying and experiencing. And I was like, okay, I have to think a certain way, feel a certain way, act a certain way. If I want my life, my reality to shift outside of me, then it was, again, I didn't feel any freedom that I was searching for. And after many years of that, I stumbled into somatics and that work. And I think I was just burnt out on the other end. I was like, I have done everything. I've manifested some things, but nothing sticks. Like my foundation isn't solid. I'm still not happy. And I just kind of let myself feel that unhappiness, that anger, that fear. And as soon as I let myself feel that, it was like just this weight dropped off of me. And I feel like that's where I'm at now, is navigating how to feel all of that and allow myself to feel it while also not getting stuck in that. And also like seeing the light and following the light, but knowing that you can walk with the light and still have all of this with you along your journey, and that it really empowers you even further. Like it gives you more strength and more power, and that we're here. That's what I love about all of your teachings, Josephine, and Tantra and all of that is it's feeling everything. And we're here for the human experience. We don't need to push away grief and fear. And I think when we lean into it, it really gives us so much power. So
Beautiful. I love it. So first of all, shout out to YouTube for my path started by watching a YouTube video.
Right.
Like,
Truly.
you can find your path on YouTube.
Oh
so
my gosh, yes.
thank you for sharing that
Yeah.
truth. And what I find fascinating about your journey and giving some context, I know your family. I know your sister very well, and your parents. And when I heard you say that the beginning of your journey was rooted in this like sensation of we were in a living hell, I'm curious about that, only because to create some context of just you were born in like a loving, supportive family, right? Like I think a lot of humans can look at their early childhood experiences and maybe they're from, you know, divorce or a broken home or abuse, and you didn't have any of that in your like real-time lineage. So that I find really fascinating. So I would love for you to explain like what was the living hell?
Yeah.
And then also to kind of give some context about some of your journey of like growing up in the Midwest and moving west and like what you were doing out there on the West Coast. I'm so curious.
I was doing it all. I think so I really believe that this happens to so many people, where for me, really towards the end of high school, I started experimenting with marijuana, MDMA, all of that. And I was already extremely anxious and depressed. And I think that was just due to I'm extremely sensitive and then having to be around people all the time. And I feel that when I started to experiment with those things, although it was so enlivening and awakening and all of that, my energy rose too quickly and I was not able to ground it. So it caused a lot of chaos mentally and physically. I think also growing up in my house, like you said, loving, beautiful family. That being said, there's always, you know, like thought processes that are passed down and just things that trigger us that are passed down. And there was very much deeply rooted this concept of life is hard, everybody's out to get you, you always have to be on alert, like nobody's on your side, life is so dangerous. Yeah, and I think that was already like my foundation of how I viewed the world. So then when I really started to lose grip, that's what it was filled with, was like when I started questioning everything and having all these existential thoughts. There's so much pain in the world, and that was so focused on in our conversations in our house that that just took me over, and I was simply convinced that this was hell, like, which is wild because I'm not sure if you've seen the show The Good Place. Have you seen that?
No, I don't think so.
So these people think they go to heaven, and it's actually hell.
Ted Danson.
Yep.
Yes.
Oh, it's so good.
Yeah, that came out as I'm having like this existential crisis, which nothing's ever a coincidence. It was so beautifully woven in there. So I think that's why I kind of went.
Yeah. Thank you for explaining that. And just to color it in, because I resonate with your experience so much. And I'm curious if Hayleigh does as well.
Definitely.
Growing up in the Midwest. But like you are an HSP. So for listeners and followers that don't know what that means, that's a highly sensitive person. So, right, like you're very sensitive to external stimuli and sensitive gut, sensitive skin, all the things. And that coupled with parents who... I'm closing my eyes because mine fall into this category as well, who are deeply loving and nurturing and looking out for our best interest, but are doing so from fear-based mindset and scarcity mindset. So there's this like clingy, clutchy control. And exactly like you said, like the world is out to get you, be careful, like this constant vigilance that's running in the background of like around every corner, somebody could be like, I could die in a car accident or, you know, so I'm with you in that. And it's interesting that that combination of being highly sensitive with very controlling but loving parents can, like you said, create a lack of groundedness in self when you start to, I love how you said when your energy started to rise too quickly. So we can go back to that. Does that, I'd love to hear from you, Hayleigh, and your upbringing and origin story, because I know you also grew up in the Midwest. Tell us.
Yeah, I grew up in West Michigan, in Hudsonville, Michigan, which is, we used to say, I don't know if this is true or not, but it's in the Guinness Book of World Records for the most churches per square mile. So a
Like
really,
Catholic churches or just all
like
churches?
Reformed Baptist Christian, intense Christian churches, not Catholic. So yeah, I grew up with a very intense influence of Christianity. I grew up in a Baptist Christian household up until I was in middle school. Then my parents stopped going to church, but I really felt at home there and I felt connected to the divine. It was my only channel to be able to do so. So I continued to go to church on my own, but very much integrated all of the programming around shame and fear, intense fear programming to get through that. I found my way through it by really performing well and shaping my identity around my output as an individual. Like I was very high performing all through high school. And then when I got to college, I had one little taste of freedom and went off the deep end, shall we say.
We're giggling because I feel like it's true for all of us, right?
Yeah. Oh,
high
yeah.
performing, high achieving, good students, people pleasers, able to like adapt and conform to, show up in the ways that. And do you both feel like there was this like validation programming of like, not like it's inherent of like, I need to seek my parents' approval, but there's something there, right? Within seeking validation from outside of self to understand that either I'm good, I'm safe, I'm enough.
I think I'm still working through that. I think that's a big part of my shadow that I'm still sitting with, is trying to understand my inherent worth as an individual and decouple it from whatever other people think of me. And it's been that way since childhood, for sure.
Yeah, 100%.
Yes, for sure.
Yeah, that's why I'm naming it and highlighting it. Thank you for being real and being like, I'm still working through that one.
I'm having, and this has just been like the past few days even, where I've been having so many conversations with myself, like sitting with myself and being like, I've got you. I'm here to hold you. I can't promise I'm never going to abandon you again, but I can promise I'm trying and you're safe. And I'm proud of you because exactly that. You know, anytime you do something scary, I think, at least for me, I'll speak for myself, there's been this concept of, oh, if I do it well, then I can earn love from myself. But it's like, if I show up, that's enough. Like me just taking that step, like even if I fail tragically, can I still hold myself and be like, I'm so proud of you for trying. And like, I'm still here with you and cool, we did that. Okay, what's next? And not being like stuck in bed over the shame and just feeling horrific inside. So I totally agree. It's been an ongoing, it's one of those themes that spirals. It continues to come back. Yeah.
I love that you named speaking with your inner self or your inner child or little girl, if I could name it. And it, just to share, you know, with the audience and the listeners, like I would define that as parts work, right? But I don't know how you all learned it, because I do think it's an incredible practice of like presencing yourself to where the origin of the trigger, the activation, the belief system is coming from. And you can recognize, you can start to like separate your highest self away from that. And then kind of like you just did, sort of reparent and kind of learn to hold yourself in it. So it's such a masterful practice. And if you're open to sharing, like breaking it down, because you said it simply, but it's actually quite exquisite. So yeah,
I think what's been huge for me is, and I know somatics is thrown around there so much, but just to simplify it, is feeling safe to feel. And that's been huge for me because, you know, in the past I've said all the affirmations, but I didn't feel anything. So the practice of just being with myself, and first off, just feeling, being like, okay, what, and not even having to name it, but just that sensation, and practicing that, because then I was able to shift into this practice, which is, you know, I'll just be sitting, or even in the car before I came in here, just sitting with myself and being like, okay, what's coming up right now? Am I feeling scared? Or maybe nothing, maybe there's no words to it. And either in my head or out loud, I say what I wish I always said to myself, if that makes sense. And exactly that. I'm like,
so what came up? Are you open to be vulnerable? What came up as you were sitting in the car?
In the car, kind of what I was speaking to a moment ago, where I was like, you showed up. Like, even if you go there and you can't say a word or you embarrass yourself, I'm proud of you. And we're going to keep rolling on this journey. We're not going to stop. Like, we're not going to let this take us down. And I'm just proud of you for even showing up. That.
I love that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like coaching yourself.
Yeah.
Reparenting. Yeah. Do you do that type of practice too, Hayleigh? I'm curious.
Yeah, I definitely have to talk to my inner child. We're building that relationship still. I'm building that relationship with her, but a lot of what I do is for her, like a reclamation of the fun that I feel like maybe I didn't have in childhood because I was so goal oriented and because I was almost like obsessive about being the best at things, that oftentimes it really removed the fun out of much of what I was doing. So, I mean, like all of my movement practices, my creative practices, like making terrible art, that's me working with my inner child. And also with internal family systems or parts work, whatever you want to call it, I work a lot with my inner critic. Like I have a very, very...
Yeah, I just felt your inner critic come on.
Noisy.
That adjective, terrible. I was like, it's art.
It's art. It doesn't have to be good. Yes, exactly.
Art.
So, I talk a lot. I'm trying to talk more to my inner critic and get to know the texture and the tone. And, you know, for so long I conflated my inner critic as myself and thought that that's all that I was this critical part of myself. But that's not true. That's not all that I am. I'm so much more than that.
Yeah.
And I really thank you so much for sharing, Lauren. It's so beautiful to hear you walk through your process. And
Really.
I'm just grateful to be
Everything you say, I'm like, yes, like
I know, I feel it.
I know.
and the messy art. I resonate with that so much too. Like I started like painting or whatever. And I'm like, just what do I want to make? And it looks like trash afterwards. It looks like nothing. But the little me inside is like, oh, how fun. Like on to the next. I love that.
I need to make art more beyond
Truly.
the Instagram canvas.
Yes. Put your hands in it.
It's
Yes.
like Canva and Instagram. That's my art.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's so
You
nice
know?
to have, at least for me personally, I love to have like things that I can literally get my hands in, like pastels or paints or stuff that can, and then give yourself the freedom to be messy. Feels
Thank
really
you both
good.
for that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was raised by an artist, so like my whole life was messes.
Yeah.
But I want to go back, Hayleigh, because I want you to kind of finish your journey, because you kind of mentioned when you went away to college, there was a shift of the expansion and the freedom, and maybe to kind of take all of us back to that stage in our journey of like what was happening, and then into young womanhood, what has transpired since.
Yeah, I went to college at the University of Alabama. I was the first person in my family to go to school, and I went in completely naive, had been, you know, studying really hard and really not partying, had a little bit of a challenging relationship with alcohol before I even left for college, but I didn't really recognize how problematic it was until I rushed a sorority and it became so normalized to just drink every day, if almost every day, 5-6 days out of the week. And I got away with, I was doing well enough in my classes that I didn't really have to study very hard. It was my first time being able to enjoy freedom to that degree. And I had like a really intense family trauma that happened the week that I moved to college that really like fundamentally shifted my foundational family structure. So not only was I dealing with that rupture, in addition to that, it was also this opportunity for freedom and avoidance, and the fact that I have drug addicts and alcoholics on both sides of the family as a result of trauma. The pattern was also in me, and I was in denial of that for a really long time. And even when I recognized it, the pattern became so ingrained in me that I didn't know how to help myself. I didn't have the tools, and it was like this storm that just continued to brew, this like negative magnetic force in my life that just kept pulling in more and more and more like darkness and trauma. And then it came to a point where I literally did not know how to live my life without having a drink, because it became so unmanageable, which is like, you know, that is the experience of addiction. People are hurt and they just don't have the tools to be able to help themselves. I started my healing journey in college even, but it was just long and slow. I mean, it's taken me, I'm 29 now, and I started drinking when I was 18 years old. I've been sober for like close to 600 days I'm coming up on.
Celebrating 600.
Thank you. And it was a long journey to be able to get sober. I tried a few different times. I knew for years that I should get sober, and I would try and go a month, and then I would pick up a drink again, and then I would have a couple nights where I would have a drink or two, and then it would spiral into getting blacked out again. And just like, I realize now that I was obviously in a lot of pain, and it was a tool to be able to get outside of myself and to get outside of the pain. It was really my journey to embodiment and to being able to sit with myself started with yoga, which started in college. I went to an objectively not great yoga class hosted by
Her started with the YouTube video.
You know, we all start somewhere. We all start somewhere with my roommate. And you know, when I started practicing yoga, it really was coming from a place of like trying to not connect with myself, but another way to manage my body, which has also been a thread for my entire life, is trying to force my body to be a certain way. The body image piece has been challenging.
Yeah, I mean that.
Yeah. And I just kind of became obsessed with it. It felt like it was like the one physical modality that made me feel really good in my body. It made me feel strong. I was able to consistently show up for it. Last year, the year before that, 2025, I decided to do my yoga teacher training at a studio in Miami because I just like was honestly at my last straw with myself. I had made all of these sacrifices to move to Miami and was still doing all of the same self-destructive behaviors that I had been participating in previously. And I realized even like going to yoga classes, it was like I was living this double life where I was like going to the class, but not necessarily living the...
Sure.
The,
it's very common.
Yeah. Using it almost like a Band-Aid. So I decided to do my teacher training and get sober at the same time. And having the community that I did was so critical to be able to actually stick to my sobriety. In addition to that, being in other sober spaces in Miami, like Conscious Cabaret, which is a sober, sensual, erotic expression of divine feminine energy, being involved with that and really like pouring into my creativity and having people that supported me in that and community that held me in that was critical. It was everything for my recovery. I wanted it for so long, and now I have enough days behind me where I'm like, okay, I'm going to keep doing this.
I love you. There's so much there. First, I want to honor Wendy Celine, who was also on this podcast, which is how I met Hayleigh. So honoring Celine Ashe, who is, a beautiful podcast guest. So pinning this topic about body image, but I also want to deeply honor you for sharing your addiction, your maladaptive coping mechanism of using alcohol to numb and avoid, and just naming it is so powerful. So thank you for your vulnerability in that. And and to understand like it's so normalized in the US, right? Like you have a relationship with alcohol. I had a toxic relationship with alcohol. It's very common, and you spoke about it very eloquently and densely, but also just I think it's true for so many of us, especially in this country, right? So thank you for sharing that.
Thank you. I think it's interesting because I don't know if maybe it's the influence of Abrahamic religions and these mechanisms of control in society, but in contrast to European societies where people are raised around alcohol and it's normalized, they have a far healthier relationship with it much of the time. Right. I don't know if it was maybe because I didn't have healthy exposure or because it was so shunned for me to think about drinking. And then once I had the ability to drink, it was so easy to go overboard and nobody bats an eye 100%. When you're in college for 4 years and you can get away with getting wasted as long as you're getting B's in your classes. Like that feels problematic to me. It feels really.
I mean, we all shared similar upbringing in that level of perfectionism and control and people pleasing. And then the minute we had the opportunity to have freedom, I mean, same with me. I didn't drink or have sex until I was out of my parents' house. Like when I was in my parents' house in high school, no sex, no alcohol, no drugs, nothing. Not because they were like that like, oh no, yes. You're like, what am I talking about? I was just with them. They were that conservative and controlling. Like it just would not have been acceptable. And I was an athlete and, I just felt like I wanted to be devoted to my sport and like the purity of that. Right. I didn't want to like cloud my body and my judgment. But yeah, the minute I got the freedom, I mean, I went all in to the point where it was like blackout drunk every weekend, having sex every weekend. I mean, I was like casual hookup queen where I did the walk of shame multiple times a week. And that was so normalized too.
Yeah, definitely.
Right. And so there's also this correlation. I know in your story, and you didn't touch upon this, but men, right? There's like that connection too with alcohol and allowing men to have access to our bodies that goes hand in hand.
Yeah. I didn't really touch on the fact that my addiction spread. And the reason that I look at, it's not just me. Addiction is a maladaptive coping mechanism, but I now view it through a lens of self-harm, right? Like I was so deeply discontent with myself that I was utilizing whatever tools I could to harm myself, which started with alcohol, and then it was codependency, and then it was marijuana, and then it was psychedelics, and then it was like whatever I could get my hands on to free myself from having to face myself and my own consciousness, and also potentially it felt really good to me apparently, or there was a part of me that was appeased by like risking it all. That's how risky my behavior was. And sourcing self-worth and validation from men was a huge part of that for a very long time.
Yeah. Does that resonate for you, Lauren, as well?
The men, yeah.
The men?
Yeah. Let's talk about the men. Definitely. For me, I got all my self-worth from them. I think growing up, I was like never the popular kid or anything. So then, I was a late bloomer with dating, with boys, with all of that. So then I went from like, I didn't have my first kiss till I was 17. And then by 19, I was dancing in a gentleman's club. And suddenly everybody was like,
wait, let's
in
talk
my
about
DMs,
that. Right. Let's talk about that.
Yeah.
Dancing in a gentleman's club.
Yes.
Oh.
Yeah. It's,
how did that come about?
I remember I was working with one of my friends. I was like a store manager at the time, making $9 an hour. And she said something along the lines of, if I actually had the balls, I would like go and dance. And I was in this era, I was getting out of high school, and I was like so sick of just, again, being so constrained, doing everything by the book. It had gotten me nowhere. And I just really decided to not let fear hold me back. And I'm like, fuck it, I'm gonna go like try. And I did. And yeah, I did that for 6 years and it was beautiful, but there was such a journey with attaching my self-worth to men and to going to them whenever I was feeling any discomfort with myself or, any heavy feeling, just reaching for my phone and just doing that. So there was a lot of unlearning there. So I definitely resonate with a lot of that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And there's an interesting correlation as we started to talk about body image and embodiment and movement and how those are such important themes of divine feminine liberation when we can really own them and claim them from Shakti, right? From I'm dancing just to dance, or I'm moving my body just to move, or I'm making the art even though it's horrific, messy, whatever word I'm just doing it for me versus to seek the outside validation or that sense of self to feel better about self. Yeah. I want to name and own something that's coming up for me, even now as an intimacy coach. For years after my marriage ended, which wasn't that long ago, I would say a good 5 years as I was in and out of situationships, I had an addiction to the apps. Like I had an addiction to Bumble. And I often would cite it as I'm doing sociological, anthropological research. Like I was doing research so that I could like step into who I am today as an intimacy coach. But I mean, I'm not kidding when I share that, you know, I was gonna make a claim, but that does not sound good about numbers. I'm not naming body count here, but I'm saying that I was intimate, even in a exchange of intimacy via texting or just talking. I've been intimate with thousands of men, thousands. Like that was my addiction, right? Was that like, and it's not even I'm not feeling good about myself, so I need external validation. It's honestly this level of like what I would perceive as like boredom, or like there's a gap in an energy field, and then I want to fill it with connectivity. And so I've transmuted that trauma into a treasure, right? That pain into pleasure in terms of making it my career, because now I get paid to cultivate intimacy with others and to really honor and celebrate our desire to form deep, authentic connections with humans, right? And to highlight that and celebrate that instead of feeling like, oh my God, this is my addictive pattern. I learned a lot in those years of communicating with men on Bumble.
Definitely a learning experience. But I think that's why these conversations are so important. And it's like, I feel so much vulnerability speaking to, you know, my sexuality and the experiences I've had. But although we all have to have our own experiences and we all have to go through things and learn for ourselves, I think there is such a culture where it shifted from sex is bad to like the mainstream being go have sex with like anyone and everything. And I think that there's a beautiful in between that so many women, people, everybody could value hearing these stories from, because although I learned so much from those experiences that I had with those people, I don't regret anything, but I also wouldn't wish that upon anybody else. I wouldn't want to go back there.
Tell us more about that, if you're open to sharing some empirical data.
I think truly, this sounds so silly to say out loud, but like my only qualification for being intimate with somebody was like, how attractive are they? So that's saying a lot in why I was doing what I was doing. And I think I had to go through being hurt, being disrespected. And these weren't bad people. Like, I'm not saying that. It was just the circumstance and the situation. And I had to go through that so much until I was like, okay, this isn't fulfilling anymore. This isn't serving me. Now what? And for that reason, I wouldn't take any of it back. I needed to do that. But I also wish that I had conversations like these, like open conversations, instead of just don't have sex or like listening to the radio and having like those two extremes. I wish it was, you can have sex and you can feel free and do it from an intentional place, not doing it from a space of lack and from reaching for something that I'm not able to give myself. Like you said, that boredom. I definitely resonate with that.
It's funny. You lit up too in that.
Definitely.
Yeah.
There were many, many nights I spent on a number of apps that I was filling a hole. I don't know if it was boredom or if it was loneliness or some combination of the two. There have been instances in my life where there was financial incentive to also take that path and cultivate intimacy. I don't necessarily think that's what I was doing. I think it was more self-serving than actually connecting with people. But yeah, I really resonate with what you said, where I wouldn't wish it on anybody, but I do see that chapter in my life as necessary in learning how to actually cultivate intimacy now in my relationship.
Well, it's an important veil to pull back, right? And I shared this often with men because, you know, bless their hearts, they just want to be with us. And we're talking obviously in a heteronormative, mononormative way as well, right? Of like as if every man wants to be with a woman and every human wants partnership. That's not true. We know that there are so many different blueprints to intimacy, but let's just sort of talk about that, right? Because I know that maybe, let's just... Okay.
Are you coming out as queer right now? Well, yes, I'm queer. Yes. Hey, I'm gay. Yes. That was not what I was going to say, but it is true, and I will wear that crown proudly. Which has been a journey also. But my relationship with men has really shifted from, I wanted to be the one to be with them. I didn't even allow them the space or allow the spaciousness for the thought that they want to be with me. I was like, so I guess I was a pick me.
Wait, this was old programming.
Yes, definitely. Like I was like,
wait, say it again. That
I wanted to be with men more than I even allowed
you were like
them.
a man eater.
Yes, and maybe like a little bit of a pick me. You know, like I had a boyfriend that I learned how to snowboard for, and then I broke my arm. Like, yeah. So
right, like that contortionist shape.
Oh my God.
Yeah. The energetics were like 100% backwards. I was all in the giving always instead of ever being in the receiving, and I'm healing that now through many of the containers that you've created. And I mean, it's new. It's new to me to even be open to receiving from the masculine, because it's felt unsafe. It's felt like I can't trust it. It feels like there's, interesting that that's present tense. It feels, I suppose, like there is strings that are attached often from experiences that I've been through. So trying to heal that, and get more into a space of men want to be with me, you know?
I love that. Yeah. What I was naming is with the dating apps, I think it's important for us to be sharing and just, our experiences with men in general through the whole process of dating, mating, and relating, what comes up from the feminine experience, because I think they create their own stories, right? They create their stories that women are flaky or wishy-washy, or they get ghosted, and they don't understand that initial reach out of, hey, with a bunch of Y's or however people are communicating on these platforms, often, and what the three of us just named, the woman is not in a place of calling in her life partner or actually wanting to date. And I found that to be true about men as well. And so to really hold the mirror up and pull the veil back to be like, people on dating apps, I used to say, like, they're not actually there to date or mate. They're there to bait. You're baiting through this like exchange of words and pictures to be like, hey, are you going to bite me? Are you going to take the bite? Are you going to pay me some attention? Are you going to fill the hole? If not, I'll just find somebody else. So I found, like, when I shared with some male friends that I really respected who were on the apps to like find the love of their life. And I was like, listen, like, women are going on those apps when they are at their lowest. They are at their lowest. They're lonely at night. They're filling a hole. They're seeking validation. So if you get ghosted, that's good. That means she's done with her time there, and she's out in the real world with her girlfriends drinking rosé all day or something, you know, or whatever, going to the yoga classes and meditating. And that's what we want, right? So I like to kind of like share our experiences with the collective so that it's not, people create these stories of like, oh, this happened to me, or fuck them all, you know, they're all batshit crazy, or red flags or whatever. And we're going through our own stuff.
Yeah. If I'm on a dating app, it's for the sake of entertainment, not because I actually feel like I'm going to find like my life partner there.
Wait, say that louder.
If I am on a dating app, it's because I'm seeking entertainment, not because I actually feel like there's a chance of finding a life partner there.
Yeah.
And
love that.
Honestly,
putting that in your profile, here for entertainment.
Yeah.
Like, not here for life partner, soulmate.
No.
What is it? Long-term.
Open to long-term.
Yeah, I don't know what. I haven't been on dating apps in a while.
I
Are you on
like
dating apps?
No. When I was younger. No. When I was younger, I mean, that's how I.
But you are young, Lauren.
Thank you so much. Well, like years ago, like it's been many years. But I've had that thought where I'm like, okay, the man that I want, he's not, and I don't want to speak poorly, but he's not scrolling on apps right now. Just like you said, he's out living his life, building his business with his friends. Like, he's doing all of that. And he has enough faith, just as I do, that we're going to meet at the perfect time and that we don't need an app to meet each other. And also, I know that I desire and I deserve like a cute meet cute. Like I
wait,
want
what is that? A
shit.
cute meet cute. What is that?
Just it's that movie where it's, you know, you run into each other and your eyes connect and it's like you just feel inside of you this depth and this something, you know, and it's like, oh, then it's the excitement of, oh, like, are we going to talk? Oh, like, are they walking this way? Oh, like they asked for my number, instead of just when you're on the app, you know, it's like straightforward. It's like, oh, we're going on a date. Like there's not, we had a whole conversation about romance last night and now it's like, I almost said that word.
You can say it.
Yeah. That, because to me, romance is just like that like oomph, you know, like there's there's a magic spark there.
Yeah.
And again, not speaking poorly if people are on apps or anything, but just for me and my truth, I know that I don't want that to be our story.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, so the cute meets cute happens IRL.
Yes.
And wait, I've also heard this term that I guess Taylor Swift and her husband, I don't even know his name. That's so embarrassing.
Mr. Swift.
Yeah.
Culture. Oh my God. That there's this new term of like, instead of being nonchalant, it's called being chalant. And they kind of coined it, or they're like the epitome of being chalant is when a guy actually, and it could be based on the power dynamic, it could be the girl. Who wears the pants over there? I don't know. That you actually like romanticize the relationship, you know? And I notice this in my kids who are teenagers, of like the whole, like asking a girl out to the prom, and it's like overdone. It's like the flowers and a big poster and a blimp comes and your friends are filming it and they turn it into this whole production, you know? And that's like the chalant way that the youth are approaching love, through this over romanticization of it, that it has to be this big production that turns into like a reel that goes viral. And is that doing us a little bit of a disservice? I'm hearing you that you want cute meets cute, but it sounds like a movie or something. Like, do you know what I mean by that? Are you doing yourself a disservice by like overly romanticizing this scenario?
I hear you. I think it's kind of a different flavor with what you're saying. Like, you have the flowers and the grand gestures and all of that. And I think that is like very stereotypical, like movies, and can be overdone. I think more of what I'm speaking to is, it's just like when you meet people in your life that you know resonate with you on such a deep level. It's like friends, a job, whatever it may be. And there's just this, it's beyond ourselves. It's this crossing of paths that happen just because we are being ourselves, and that it's inevitable for it to happen. And it's that. Yeah. Does that make more sense?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
What you're speaking into is more of a soul resonance.
Yes.
Or something on the energetic level. And remind me again, when we did the 5 types of intimacy, did you define as an energetic? Or
yes, I believe so. It was like the second one, the in between.
Not erotic blueprint. When I talked about the 5 types of intimacy, like physical, emotional, intellectual, energetic, and universal or spiritual, remember we ranked them?
I think energetic, because that like rings in my mind.
Yeah.
But to be honest, I don't fully remember. Yes.
Or we put physical. I don't remember too.
Yeah.
I don't know. Were you on the call?
I was. I remember this conversation.
Yeah. Hayleigh's thinking.
I know, I'm trying to remember.
Brewing. Yeah. How does dating show up for you these days?
My relationship to dating is shifting so much right now. Yeah. It's something that I've been so closed off for. And I have had a few near and dear people to my heart tell me that perhaps I'm being a little bit avoidant. Okay.
Did I say that?
No, you didn't say that.
Was that me?
Other near people to my heart.
Like, did we talk about attachment styles?
No, and I'm very grateful for that feedback.
Yeah.
I have been like unilaterally focused on personal development and self-growth for the past, like, since I got out of my last relationship, which was in 2023.
Yeah.
And now I feel like I'm opening up to it. Yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean, you were tiptoeing around it, but I celebrate that. When I first met you, you were very much in this space of my field is closed off. I'm focused on self.
Yeah.
And you were actually really good at communicating those boundaries when you were in juicy group containers, because I'm always curating juicy group containers. So I really want to celebrate you for that, because you really held your boundaries and really like learned how to advocate for self, which, you know, and this is a piece to kind of go back to what we were speaking about in all of our sort of college days and all of that. It's like you had to do that. And this is the piece I think a lot of the heteronormative, mononormative men don't understand, is that when a woman says that her field is closed off or she's not available for connection, it's not rejection, right? It's an opportunity for redirection, for them to understand that if they lean into that with curiosity and learn more about you to understand your journey, then they'll hear the reasons why and learn to like love and respect you even more, because you're actively choosing to do something different than you did before. Right. So, yeah, I don't think that you've been avoidant. I think you've been really focused on self. Maybe solo poly is what you could step into now.
Yeah.
But yeah, I really honor and celebrate that for you and all the women that are choosing to close off their fields because they're really focused on self, whether that's self-love, whether that's their career, you know, whether that's just overall health and wellness. Like, yeah, it's important that we do that.
It's an opportunity to be able to do it. It is a privilege to be able to do it, to have the time and the space to spend and to invest on self. I mean, I'm like literally the first woman in my lineage, and this is the story with many, many young women now, to have the opportunity to do it. And I'm so grateful for it. So I'm dipping my toe back
Thank
into
you for
the dating
naming
pond.
that.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So huge.
It's incredible. Incredible.
Yeah. I'm just slowing down and feeling that generationally. Thank you for naming that, because you're right. Women in previous generations didn't have a choice. They literally had to flirt, to get selected, to be chosen by a man, to marry a man so that they could feel safe and supported.
Yes. I never really thought about that.
Have the opportunity to work on self or advocate for self. It was just like find a partner so that.
And in many parts of the world, that's still happening. So it's even more of a privilege to be living in this specific iteration, to be able to have the time and the space.
Yeah. So can we allow ourselves as women this moment? You know, I'm feeling it because I'm also, as you know, my field is filled with a lot of men, heteronormative men, who are kind of confused and kind of like, what's going on? Why are the women not open and available to dating or having sex? And it's like, what would you say to those men?
It's not that I'm not available. It's just maybe you're not the right person for me.
That was so cute. That was like your little like mousy. Okay. Okay. I'm going to have you redo that in a more integrated way. Lauren, your turn. That was a little like. Okay, Lauren.
I would almost, and of course, this is just from my own experience, so this may not be right on point, but I would almost argue back with, are you open to having the hard conversations? Are you open to growth with a partner? Because I think that's where I run into so many times with men, it coming to an end, or as you spoke to earlier, me being called like wishy-washy and indecisive and so back and forth, is it hasn't been, and I'm not blaming them, but it hasn't been a safe place for me to fully step into who I am and for me to speak what I'm feeling without them taking that personally and getting triggered.
Yeah.
So I think that just obviously then I would rather be by myself in that case. So again, just speaking from my own personal experience, but to men that say that women are closed off or, you know, not wanting relationships or not open to it, I would just offer that viewpoint that are you truly open to it? Are you open to the depth that is having a connection with somebody, especially a relationship? Yeah.
Beautiful. Yeah, and I think that's the challenge right now. If we're all looking in the mirror, it's that desire for the depth and the awareness that, especially as women who are embodied and we've done the work and we know what we're bringing, it's like we've done so much work in holding ourselves in the totality of who we are and the fullness of our expression and expansion that we want to ensure that we have a partner that can match that and that can hold that and not try to like contain it or control it or try to like make it small or be like, no, don't dress like that, or no, don't talk like that, or no, don't move like that, or whatever, right? It's like, especially for the three of us that came from the upbringings that we did, it's like we've done so much work to step into that reclamation of our embodied wholeness, including our sensuality and sexuality, that for me, it's really important, like you said, to know that a partner can hold me in the fullness and the depth and the totality of what comes up, including the indecisiveness and, you know, the different intuitive hits. And right now, the one that's happening a lot for me is this deep need for spaciousness, right? This deep need for solitude and stillness and silence. That means I'm not showing up in devotion to the partnership or the relationship, but I'm choosing myself. And how do you do that yet still be in a thing? And I'm calling it, I told you last time, a creationship. I don't want to call it a partnership.
Nice.
I don't want to call it a relationship. It's a creationship.
Beautiful.
Yeah. And what are we willing to co-create in the awareness that I'm creating what I'm creating for self first and foremost, and then we can co-create things together. But it's not this like union, merging, becoming one.
Can I speak to that solitude?
Yeah.
Because that has been so present in my life recently. And I was actually having this conversation with one of my friends where I realized that's one of my limiting beliefs. I deeply desire a partnership. I know that that's what I want in life. And I'm somebody too where I need so much alone time. I feel like I'm finally accepting that I just process so much, just truly through my body, through my mind, emotions, everything. And with that, I need solitude. And with that, I am super moody sometimes. And with that, I'm like really heavy to be around. Hence why I feel best oftentimes having that solitude. Obviously, this very much revolves around my cycle too, but even outside of that. And I've feared that would a partner desire a partner that, because I've seen it even like right now, you know, I'm living with my family and even just, I love them so deeply with all of my heart, but it's like, I just want to be alone sometimes. Like, I just need that. And then it comes off as, oh, and they know me. They know that that's not the case. But it has in the past, and it can come off as, oh, she's moody, she's so sad all the time, all of this, when it's like, I actually feel on a deep level like really fucking good. Yet I'm also processing a lot of grief, a lot of fear, a lot of confusion, frustration. But that point exactly of like just wanting to be alone. Yeah. But it's been a fear of me of like in partnership. Is that is that accepted? Yeah.
I resonate with that so much.
Yeah.
Deeply resonate with that.
It's real.
I am so attached to my alone time. I love it. And I am terrified of navigating partnerships or trying to navigate partnerships while also like holding on to this space that I've carved out for myself and this relationship that I now have with myself that I hold so near and dear to my heart. And it does require a lot of time and energy to be able to tend to all of the parts of myself. So I don't know.
Yeah, this is really real. Thank you both for speaking into this, because I think, especially because our culture is focused on the individual experience and sovereignty, and that's heightened more now than ever, that vision of like cohabitating is terrifying, right? So I think across the board, all genders, all humans, no matter how they identify, are experiencing this. I can state from my own experience being married and cohabitating for 10 years, if you're open to hearing it. I mean, I feel as though when you make the conscious choice to build a living legacy through having children, that step of cohabitating has to occur, right? I don't think that if you want to have a family, having separate households is ideal, right? Like, however, going into that journey, intentionally carving out time and space, whether it's like, we're not going to move in together until the last moment possible, if that was what feels true to you, great. Or if when you do decide to move in with each other, then it's just about having that conversation about what does that look like to intentionally carve out time and space for myself. So it can be like going to your yoga class, or leaving the home to do the things. But then also what I've seen a lot of conscious couples do is they understand that doing some of these practices, somatic experiencing journeys, movement practices, like, it requires a safe space in the home where you're in solitude and you can move through that energy. I mean, I do it all the time too. And just to explain, like, hopefully you call in a partner that does that work too and understands that, or I even know conscious partners that one will like rent an Airbnb one weekend if they really need that separation. And I think all of that is like so healthy, right? So healthy. We were talking about this yesterday on that call with Nicole about this escalator, right? This programming of like life has to follow these pre-programmed steps of you flirt, you date, you have sex, you become exclusive, you get married, you have kids. That's it, right? And you're on this escalator that is only going one direction, which is up. So if you hit that roadblock at that step of like the moving in step, people can create the story of like, oh my God, that means we can't be together because I need my alone time and he wants to always be with me. What is that? And it's like, no, it doesn't mean you have to break up. It just means you have to have a conversation, right?
Yeah.
And potentially de-escalate the relationship and or renegotiate the agreement. And I think we're living in a time now where the blueprint has totally shifted and we're not all speaking the same language, right? This is what came up last night on Universal Intimacy, the community. Our call is that, and Nicole gave us some new words. Some were even new for me. I was like, whoa, right? That like, we have to be speaking the same language. And it comes down to even like a word like romance. I was like, what do you mean by romantic? Like she said it on the call, Lauren, and it was like, can you please define that? Because her definition of romantic or romance might be different than mine. Or same thing with what is physical intimacy or what is partnership, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Operational definitions. We need them in our partnerships and in our society, I suppose, would be a great goal for that. But what is romance, Lauren?
It's like that magic. Like it's unfelt to me. It's the unseen. It's like the just deep aliveness inside of you.
That's romance for you. Wow. Okay, cool.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. It was interesting how Nicole, she was mentioning that it's like something you do almost.
Yeah, that's how I view it.
Okay, yeah, like referencing it as an act.
It's a courting process that's anchored in a deep longing and affection, but it's anchored to a belief of like a long-term relationship. So when you're cultivating romance with someone, there's attention and affection and presence and devotion with this awareness that you see a potential future, right? So it's hard for avoidance to cultivate romance or individuals that aren't emotionally available to long-term connection. I think romance is associated with having the depths of emotional, physical, intellectual, energetic intimacy where you're actually like, yeah, I want to build something with this person. And anyone who's using romance as a strategy when they're not desiring that, that's like love bombing or gaslighting, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Manipulation.
It's a form of manipulation. Yeah.
I want to circle back around to the piece about men feeling confused as to why women are maybe not super available for partnerships. I feel like we brushed on it, both of us sharing our fears in terms of navigating partnership and touching also on how, you know, relationship blueprints are shifting, but it has to be really worthwhile and it really has to feel aligned for partnership to even feel like an option at this point, just because I know that I can't fake it anymore the way that I used to be able to with men. Like my body is very clearly communicating if there is an alignment or if there is not. And I cherish my time by myself more than anything else. So
are we talking
really
about faking an orgasm?
No, just like, I don't know, you know,
fake
let's talk about
somebody. Yeah.
well, not even fake liking somebody, but you know how you can sometimes go on a date with somebody or feel something out with someone and you're like, okay, maybe everything is right on paper, but the spark isn't there. Maybe we'll feel into it and see. Like, I don't even have the inclination to do that anymore, to see if it can develop into something.
Really?
I feel like, which is kind of, I know, it's interesting.
Well, no, because there's a lot of literature out right now about like the spark and how it's an inadequate indicator of actual partnership and the potentiality for a long-term relationship that is based in secure attachment, which it's like, which I somewhat agree with, and yet I don't. And I'll tell you why. Because Eros is important, right? As you know, I'm the keeper of the keys of primal Eros. And in this awareness that like our root and our sacral chakra have to be engaged in that connection with somebody. We can't just build the heart connection. That's a friendship, or that's the love that you have for your family, or like just be like, oh my God, this person and I connect on all these visions and ideas. No, that's like, again, a collaborator. I'm pointing to my head because it's the mind, right? That's a collaborator. That's a colleague. That's a business partner. If we actually want to have really juicy, fulfilling partnerships, we have to want to fuck. Like, let's be real. We have to want to fuck. We have to want to have sex. And that's going to come from these lower chakras. And I think part of what you're naming in the like, if it's not there, it's not there, is your own attunement and awareness, your own connection to pussy and what pussy wants. So explain that. Yeah, you're not.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, when I used to drink and when I used to use substances, I would be able to override my body and really not necessarily give much thought to if I was even aroused before getting into an intimate connection with somebody, just because I was using it for my own means, for other purposes, right? For validation or for all the other things that we touched on earlier. Now that I am sober and that I have a deep and loving relationship with my body, I'm constantly listening to, okay, ooh, this is making me a little bit wet. Okay, ooh, this is making me a lot. Ooh, okay, hey, there's fire here. Ooh, there's attraction here. Ooh, there isn't. And
yeah.
I also am listening to when the opposite is happening and when there's like an ick or when the skin is crawling. Both things feel like intuitive hits that I'm like so grateful to be in touch with.
Yes, I love that you're speaking into this listening, right? This skill of somatic awareness, or you named it earlier, Lauren, of like that felt sense in the body and communicating with your inner child. It's kind of the same thing, but it's this is the practice, right? Of clearing out the noise, the distractions, maybe the substances, and then deepening in your relationship to your own body so that you can actually hear what the body is telling you.
Yeah.
I love that.
And it gets so loud. I feel like exactly like what you're saying. It's to the point now where I can't ignore it. Yeah. Whether it's with people or whether it's just going a certain direction in life, it's like, yeah, I think back to like specific moments where I'm just like, oh, this is a no. Like in the past, this was all I knew, so it was normal to me. But now that I know what like goodness feels like in my body, it is so clear to me that this is contracting me, not expanding me. And you can't ignore it at that point. I feel like.
I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I would love for you both to share kind of some of your experiences in some of my containers. And now I'm trying to like toot my own. I'm like,
As you should.
amazing I am.
Yes.
Okay, girl.
How much time do we have?
How did you learn all these exquisite skills?
Josephine, well, it was so, this is why I love you both so much, because like one of our work calls we got on and I was like, Josephine, I had such good sex like a couple of days ago. And I just love that because I was thanking you for that. Like you, and I know that, that's such like, it's funny or whatever, but the truth is for the first time I felt confident enough to say my truth and say, hey, this is what I'm desiring. We need to slow down here. Like, we need to do this. We need to have this conversation. And I felt safe in my body for the first time in so long. And even just, speaking to your containers, even just, again, these sound so simple and they're so powerful, is the practice where we just stop and we look into each other's eyes. And I kid you not, that was life-changing for me because I realized how much there was a barrier between me and somebody that I was with because I always felt like I had to have the right words. Even now, that's something that is very much present. And I'm like, okay, our connection is based off of the words that are exchanged between us. And to not have any speaking and to just be looking into somebody's eyes, I mean, that is such, I connected with these people so deeply and not a word was said. And I would even argue I felt more connected to them than if I were to stand there and have a conversation with them, because there would have been all these barriers. And such a side story, but it was wild because
you're naming two things that I think are really powerful. And yes, thank you for naming that's in the somatic pilgrimage practice where we just pause and eye gaze, and we do this multiple times with multiple people. And thank you for sharing the depth of that. I mean, people cry during that practice sometimes and just see different like archetypal resonances in the person in front of them. But the first point you made, about being able to claim your desires and articulate to a partner, a potential partner, like, hey, this is what I want, this is what I don't, or like, you're moving too fast, or I want this type of touch. And then you had like really good sex, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Just wanted to close that.
Yes, I did. I really did. It was great. That was because, again, when I was speaking to like, oh, my body being a no, I was thinking back to a specific situation where I was with somebody that I'd previously been with, and now that I have done all the somatic work and I'm more in my body, I was with them and I was like, this is not what I'm desiring for many reasons. This is not aligning with me, and this isn't something that I want to continue. Like, I could feel my body shutting down. So it had been such a long time before.
And how did you communicate that to the other individual?
I didn't.
Oh, well, Lauren, what did you do?
But since then I have learned, and now I communicate. Yes, but
got it.
Yes. That was.
How would you communicate that now that you have new tools?
Yeah, I think I would have the conversation beforehand, before even getting into intimacy and this was actually the conversation that I had, was so much of it has to do with the fact that I was a dancer. And I mean, outside of that, just like being a human, but being a dancer, I had men's hands on me all day. And I was constantly on guard for them, like trying to do something that they shouldn't be doing. So my body was constantly in like freeze as well as fight or flight, like hyper vigilant, but also numbed out. Like, I was just extremely dissociated from my body, I feel. And I had this conversation with somebody where I was like, I am just relearning intimacy while staying inside my body. And I need slowness. I need to be having conversations before, during. I need the vibe to be right. I need communication. I need emotion and vulnerability and depth. And yeah, that conversation is what allowed a great experience. Yeah.
Beautiful. Yeah.
I was introduced to your containers from a creative collaboration perspective.
Yes.
And it has been so nourishing to be able to do that work. It's made me feel so honored to be trusted with capturing moments of intimacy and sharing them with the world in a way that honors what is happening and honors the individuals within the container as well.
Yeah.
But with being behind a camera, there is, this separation that exists and this curiosity about the practices that are happening. Prior to meeting you, I had really no knowledge of Tantra or tantric practices. I had heard about it in the Neo-Tantra sense and what's being shared on the internet, but I had never been in containers. And I have a very highly sensitive system as well, which is often read as anxiety in spaces. And just being in the containers that you cultivate, even as a videographer, it is so noticeable the shift that happens from when people enter the room to when they leave. There's just this tangible, real difference of people going from this heightened, anxious, uncertain state to really being able to drop down and connect with each other. And the love is palpable. It's so beautiful. I've had the opportunity to participate in a few, of course, containers that you have not held, that you have introduced me to, that have literally changed the course of my life. They have shifted me fundamentally in my relationship with my own sensuality, with my own sensual expression, with working as a hospitality professional and taking pride in that and taking ownership of that as a way of creativity and artistry in the world that's equally as valuable as any and all other creative forms that people are manifesting, setting the space and really, honoring that. And the projects that we've worked on together has just shifted me. It did so much just deep healing for me. And specifically in the containers that you've held, even just I'm thinking about one practice that I got to participate in where I had a male that was holding me as Shiva, and I was meant to embody Shakti energy. And
I remember that.
Oh my God, to have the freedom to just express all parts of myself. The scary, the crying, the feral, the playful, the sensual. It was absolutely incredible to get to feel into the fullness of the feminine form. And I'm learning all the time from you, all the time. You've completely shifted my entire perspective on what it means to be in this world. So I'm so deeply grateful for that. And also the boundaries piece. I really feel like you giving me permission to explore all of myself while also honoring you have the permission, this is how it feels to me. Anything is on the table, but I get to choose what I actually want to take off of the table and, use for myself. And having the freedom to be able to explore everything, but a complete lack of pressure to do anything has been so deeply healing for me, to say no and to hold to it and to have an example and what it means to operate in spaces and hold boundaries in integrity to myself, to the container, to others around me. So
thank you for that. And within the business, right? I mean, that's something that I created very early on amongst the three of us working together, was what do you guys want to do, right? Leading with that and not feeling like I'm assigning you tasks because these are the things that need to get done. And I think you'd be good at this and you'd be good at that. It's you have every right to create the boundary and advocate for yourself and say, no, I'm not available for that. Right? I've really helped awaken that within you, because I think again, going back to the very beginning, we were conditioned to people please and like, okay, just even that model of like boss, employee, like it's all out, you know, like it's just been such an honor co-creating with you both and birthing things and discussing things. And our weekly team meetings now are more like this, where we're just chatting and discussing about the epic sex we had last weekend or the trip we're going to go on. And I'm so excited for both of you to continue to blossom and step out into the world and share all your gifts and talents and medicine and magic. So I would love, to just close out with anything that's alive in you and anything you want to share with the audience of what you do and how to stay connected with you.
Yeah. I want to just finish with the gratitude that I have and for both of you. And just as you're saying, the way that you have cultivated all of us working together has been something that truly has just broken my mind, because it is nothing that I've ever seen, and it's everything that should be. And Josephine, you have such a beautiful way that you activate people. You activate people, me being one of them. Absolutely. I get off the calls and I'm like, oh, I told my sister, I was like, talking to Josephine is like being on a psychedelic journey. Yet you hold us too. It's such a activation of love and of such deep truth. And there's no bullshitting with you. Like I can't put up a front with you. I can't put up a mask. I have to show up completely myself, and you hold me and everybody in that. So I just want to say thank you for who you are and all that you do. And I would love to say it's just, it was so random that you called me and that I joined your team, and it was nothing that I expected, and I'm so grateful for you for that. And I just want people to continue living in alignment as best they can, because things really do come out of the blue that you can't plan for. Yeah. And this was one of them. So thank you, Josephine. Yeah. But so right now I'm focusing on nervous system regulation and my somatics business with my sister. We are doing a fall cohort. It's not up yet. We're still finishing it, but you can, if you're interested, shoot an email to embodiedmentorship.com. And then I post YouTube videos just for fun of me going on rants about.
Wait, what's the email? Because you didn't.
Embodied mentorship. Oh, at Gmail.
At Gmail.
My bad. At gmail.com. Yeah. Just send it to all of them at Gmail. And then, YouTube, I'm at Lauren McKenna.
And you're doing 90 breathwork classes still too. Yeah.
Yes, I'm a breathwork facilitator. I have a workshop at Be Well House of Good Energy on August 30th in Highwood.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Hayleigh is such an epic content creator, just to name, and you referenced how you've supported me, but just so I can name it, is that you do all of my videography and post-production of all the clips from immersive experiences, containers, and a lot of my social media. So honoring you in that and how you share your artistry that way. So
Thank you so much. I owe you a massive, massive thank you for holding me through this last year of, I don't know what I would have done had I come to the city and not been introduced to you. I've asked myself many times why I came back to Chicago, and the clear answer is to cross paths with you. Mm-hmm. And the influence that you have had on my life cannot be overstated. I am so deeply, deeply grateful to have been able to work with you, and to all the ways that you've been gracious with me in getting my footing and figuring out what it is that I'm doing in this world, and your patience. And thank you a million times over. Thank you.
And you're going to be nomadic soon.
To be determined.
Okay. Question mark. Okay.
Everything is a big question mark for me right now. But if there are any individuals anywhere needing any sort of video or photo coverage, I would love to offer that skill set to you. If you are looking for somebody to assist with post-production of content, I would be more than happy to help you with that as well. I love working with conscious spiritual entrepreneurs that are doing amazing, incredible work in the world and helping to spread messages of goodness. So
Yeah, especially embodied goodness, right? I think that's a challenge for anyone that's in my field, whether embodiment, tantra, sacred sexuality, to find individuals that get it, because we can't just hire anyone to do our post-production, right? Because there can be their own shadow states of judgment or fear or shame coming up. So I really appreciate your comfort level with the work. And I wanted to share you mentioned the hospitality piece, and I didn't want to overlook it, only because it's the thread that we've shared. And there was this activation of a temple, a recreation of the Babylon temple was one of my favorite moments with you, in which we were called to prepare the massage oil station, which, it's just like coconut oil. And I'm like, I've been to so many places and containers where it's just like the coconut oil is just like in a jar, and it's just like you scoop your hand in it and use it for massages, or it's in some little like janky plastic cups. And like Hayleigh did this thing with it, which was like so exquisite. Again, working in limited space where we only have access to whatever we're bringing in. It's kind of like a Burning Man concept of like, whatever we have, we have. So you've got to work with whatever materials are there. And she took all these spoons and like created these little like scoops of the coconut oil on the spoons, and like laid it out on a tray. And it's just like, I love the aesthetics and beauty and the details of that, and the intersection of beauty and hospitality. And you weave those worlds so well, with such sensuality and also playfulness and fun. And it's just been so fun co-creating with you in those ways. So I'm calling in more of that.
Yes, me too.
And honoring the mutual container that we're in, honoring Kadesha temples and everyone involved in that it's a fusion of immersive ritual-based theater and the erotic arts. And it's just, such a fun place to find yourself and rediscover yourself.
Yeah.
So, Lauren, we're gonna pull you into some of these spheres soon. All right, thank you all for being here today. I hope this episode was uplifting and illuminating, and I feel really light and joyful. And I just want to present a couple things that we have going on here on Temple of Loha team. Number one is you can always stay connected to us through Universal Intimacy, the community. This is on the Circle app. You can join us. We meet for calls twice a month on Monday nights, and I have guest facilitators and speakers come on. It's a really beautiful space of all humans, no matter how you identify, if you're in a partnership or not, if you're a man, if you're a woman, if you're non-binary, whatever it is, we really make this space accessible to any and all humans that are desiring community, that is here to cultivate connection and intimacy. The second thing we have coming up that I'm so excited about is Urban Intimacy, the retreat. This is on October 10th in Chicago. Again, open to any and all humans. And we're specifically calling in humans that feel maybe a little different and on the fringe. This is open to you if you are neurodivergent, if you are LGBTQ+, if you are BIPOC, if you are non-gender conforming, if you are non-monogamous, polyamorous, whatever you identify as. I really want to make Tantra and the esoteric arts accessible to you. And so that's what Urban Intimacy is here for. So if you are scared, if you are curious, if you are single and you're like, I don't know, but I'm feeling some sort of buzzing electric sensation like these two were feeling earlier, this is for you. You can jump on a call with me to talk through some of the fears that may be emerging, and know that you are going to be held by a really incredible team. My co-facilitator team is comprised of Melissa Morris, who hails from Miami. She is also identifies as queer, a BIPOC woman, a beautiful intimacy professional that can really hold these fields of expansion with advocacy and liberation and love. And Garen Gout is from LA, and he's joining us also in this expanded state of expressing himself and holding all humans in how their inner feminine wants to play, as well as incorporating your inner Shiva consciousness of groundedness, presence, and devotion. And Nicole Sonnenfeld is going to be holding us as emotional support. So I'm really excited to have her on the team as well. And yeah, it's going to be a great day in Chicago on October 10th. So as a listener to this podcast, I'll drop a code below. I'll give you a discount code if you want to sign up for Urban Intimacy, the retreat.